Hello everyone, Travis here, and welcome back to another episode of Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 Building the Mega Park. Today I'm going to do things a little bit different. As some of you guys have suggested, I'm going to actually be doing some commentary explaining the process that I go through and whatnot when building a park like this. And as you can see for this first part, we're just going to be expanding this river a little bit, trying to think future tense on how I want the park to be laid out later on down the road. One thing about this park is I'm kind of wanting the actual terrain and map and whatever to be more on the realistic side, but I'm not staying all that realistic with the rides because I'm trying to go for bigger, better, greater, faster kind of attractions and whatnot, and that's not always that realistic. So for those of you who are used to my stuff that's kind of more on the realism side of things, like River Country, this series is going to be a little bit different, although I will include a lot of my signature stuff in it as well, and I think it's going to turn out nice. As you're probably aware, for those of you who are paying attention, I'm actually quite late on this. This is supposed to be a Mega Park Monday, and here it is Wednesday, or at least hopefully it's Wednesday by the time I get this posted, because that was my goal. The Super Bowl this weekend kind of screwed everything up for me. I normally do a lot of my stuff for the week on Sunday, and so I'm very much behind, not to mention school is kind of kicking my butt right now too, so I'll definitely try to be closer to my promised schedule in the future, but just know that it may be a day or two off sometimes. I'd like to thank you all for keeping up with my channel and for taking an interest in my content. I've actually had record growth over the last few days, and it's more than appreciated. Right now I'm just editing the terrain. I'm wanting it to look like this could be an area in real life. And so there's not really a whole lot to explain here, but we're going to move into some stuff here in a bit. And I actually have some shout outs to give. All right. Just to kind of recap, we had James Miller name the limb launch coaster G-Force, and then I did get a couple of suggestions for the launched free fall, but the one I am going with was suggested by Jostevos, and I'm so sorry if that's like the worst possible pronunciation of that, but at any rate, he suggested we call it Incline. And then Nathan Gully actually suggested that I build a wooden roller coaster with a red and black theme and call it Raven, which I thought was like the greatest idea ever. That's actually what we're working on right now. The colors and whatnot will be changed later. For the layout of this coaster, it's actually going to be pretty simple, mostly airtime hills with a few banked and a few unbanked turns, but it actually ends up having a pretty long layout, which is good. When it comes to coaster layouts in terms of having good ratings, the biggest thing is to make sure there's a variety of elements. The lower turns should definitely be banked, maybe have a helix or two depending on the coaster type. On the larger coasters, you're definitely going to want to take advantage of airtime. Coasters that have inversions, you're going to want to take advantage of putting a variety of inversions, like, different loops and twists and corkscrews, but combining that with the other elements like airtime and helixes and what have you. You'll see that on this coaster, I chose not to bank all of the turns. A lot of older wooden coasters have unbanked turns. As technology got more advanced and as they gained a better understanding of forces and how to make rides more enjoyable, they began to use more and more banked turns. The thing about not banking the turns is you want to make sure if you're going to do that the coaster's not going too fast during that part of the ride. I'd say if it's going more than like 25 miles per hour, then the turn needs to be banked. If you're constantly getting extreme or ultra extreme ratings in your intensity, and you notice that it's because of lateral Gs, that's the primary cause, is unbanked turns or inversions that are too low for the speed at which the train is going. Interestingly enough, there is a certain degree of science involved here. Okay, for this next part, I'm actually going to build the station building for this coaster. It turns out a little bit kind of squarish, but I actually like it in the end. The colors and whatnot for this coaster are, in my opinion, kind of badass. So yeah, when it comes to building buildings in this game, if you're going for a more realistic approach, you definitely want to stay away from symmetry as much as possible. This building does actually turn out, I think, perfectly symmetric, which sometimes works, but if you look at buildings in real life, most of the time they're not really that symmetric. But yeah, just continuing to build around the station and everything. Some tips that can be useful to those of you that are trying to get better at this game. If you hold down the shift key, a lot of you probably know that you can move a scenery piece up and down within whatever square it is currently situated on. If you hold down the control key while hovering over an object, you can actually put that piece at the same height as whatever object it is hovering over. Hopefully that's not too confusing, but that does make things a lot easier when it comes to building larger things and also things that are around other things, like in this case a roller coaster track and station. I'm not sure why, but there seems to be a break in the footage at this point, which of course I do apologize for. But there are a couple of things I want to put out about finishing touches. One of the biggest things as far as detailing is making sure that you build in layers. So I always build the primary walls of any structure on the inside of a square. That way I can put little accent pieces and windows and details on the outside of the grid square. Another thing, for wooden coasters, they have a couple of support pieces that come standard in the game. Definitely take advantage of those. Never in real life do you see a wooden coaster that just is straight up and down. It needs to be more supported than that. So the supports tend to get wider at the bottom as kind of like a base. And so those pieces allow you to do that, as you can see in the somewhat finished product of this coaster.
Lately, I've been walking down the street looking for something that I never had. You and me, never on the same page, baby. You're a mystery, and I know I got it bad. New York City, you never know where you're gonna go. So damn pretty, somebody that I got to know. And we're living for the weekend. And you're a 10 out of 10. the street looking for something that I never had. You and me, never on the same page, baby. You're a mystery, and I know I got it bad. New York City, you never know where you're gonna go. So damn pretty, somebody that I got to know. And we're living for the weekend, and you're 10 out of 10.
And that pretty much wraps things up for today. We'll work more on this hypercoaster and the associated theming in the next episode. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the way that I did the commentary with music sort of back and forth thing in this video. So I know if that's something that you want to see more of, or if you want me to shut the heck up, or whatever. And definitely feel free to give me feedback on the series so far. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what you see, and if you haven't already, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button. But thank you all for watching. I hope you're enjoying this series so far. You have a great morning, afternoon, evening, night, etc., wherever you are in the world, and I will see you all next time.